Survivor is a game of decisions, and sometimes one decision can cost you $1 million. From idols left unplayed, to immunity given away, to choosing the wrong person to sit beside at the end, these are 13 of the biggest $1 million mistakes in Survivor history. We'll score each mistake in 3 categories: the decision itself, its impact on the game, and how close the player was to winning. Some of these mistakes ended a player's game immediately. Others changed the course of an entire season. And a few are still debated by Survivor fans today. Let's start with number 13.
Hey Survivor Geeks, please like, share, and subscribe. Check out my Survivor puzzle app and my merchandise store. The links are in the video's description.
At number 13 is Jesse Lopez, with perhaps the most debatable $1 million mistake on our list. At the final 6 of Survivor 43, Jesse made one of the biggest moves of the season. His closest ally, Cody Asamaka, had an idol and a plan to take out Carla, but Jesse saw Cody as one of his biggest threats to win the game. So Jesse took control. Using Cody's own idol against him, Jesse blindsided his closest ally and sent him to the jury.
Cody, 3, that's enough. Need to bring me your torch.
Whew. Wow.
Jesse did it.
Wait a second.
It was an incredible move, but it may have come one round too early. Without Cody in the game, Jesse became the obvious biggest threat remaining. He survived the final 5 by playing his own idol. But at the final 4, Jesse didn't win immunity and was forced into the fire-making challenge. He lost to Gabler and his game was over. Survivor Geek's mistake score: decision, 7 out of 10. Impact, 9 out of 10. Win proximity, 6 out of 10, 22 out of 30. Blindsiding Cody gave Jesse one of the defining moves of Survivor 43, but it also left him without a shield when he needed one most. If Jesse keeps Cody for just one more vote, does he win Survivor? That's what makes this mistake so fascinating. And it's only number 13. At number 12 is Kelly Kim, who went home holding not 1, but 2 hidden immunity idols. At the final 13 of Survivor Island of the Idols, Kelly had already emerged as a dangerous strategic player, and she had something almost nobody else knew: 2 idols. But when Kelly became the target, she believed she was safe. At Tribal Council, she had the protection she needed sitting right in her bag. Twice, Kelly didn't play either idol, and when the votes were read, she was blindsided.
Kelly, that's 7, that's enough. Need to bring me your torch.
That's really scary. Shaking his head.
Kelly, tribe has spoken.
8 votes were enough to send her to the jury with both idols still in her possession. Survivor Geek's mistake score: decision, 9 out of 10. Impact, 9 out of 10. Win proximity, 5 out of 10. 23 out of 30. Playing either idol would have guaranteed Kelly survived the vote, but unlike some of the mistakes still to come, she was still a long way from the end of the game. We'll never know how far Kelly could have gone. We only know she had 2 chances to save herself and used neither one. And number 11 is Lex Vanden Berge, whose $1 million mistake began with a favor for a friend. During Survivor All-Stars, a tribe swap left Rob Mariano and Amber Brookic on opposite tribes. Amber was suddenly vulnerable. Before the next challenge, Rob asked Lex to look after her. Lex and Rob were friends outside the game, and Lex believed keeping Amber could strengthen that relationship going into the merge. So, when Amber became the obvious target, Lex helped save her. Jerry was voted out instead.
Jerry, that's 3 votes, that's enough. Need to bring me your torch.
Then the tribes merged. Lex expected Rob to return the favor. He didn't. Rob sided with Amber and his alliance, and Lex was voted out at the very next tribal council. The relationship Lex thought he was protecting became the alliance that ended his game. Survivor Geek's mistake score: decision 8 out of 10, impact 9 out of 10, win proximity 6 out of 10, 23 out of 30. If Lex votes out Amber, one of the most powerful partnerships in Survivor history ends before the merge. Instead, he saved her for Rob, and Rob immediately helped send Lex to the jury. Sometimes in Survivor, a favor is just a favor, and sometimes it costs you the game. At number 10 is Brandon Hantz, who voluntarily gave away the one thing guaranteeing his safety. At the final 5 of Survivor South Pacific, Brandon won individual immunity. With the necklace around his neck, Brandon was guaranteed a spot in the final 4. But Albert was in trouble. Albert told Brandon that he believed the tribe was going to vote him out, and Brandon wanted to protect his friend. So at Tribal Council, Brandon made an extraordinary decision. He gave his immunity necklace to Albert. Brandon was now vulnerable, and Albert was safe. The tribe immediately took advantage. Brandon was voted out, while the immunity necklace he had won sat around Albert's neck. Survivor Geek's mistake score: decision 10 out of 10, impact 9 out of 10, win proximity 4 out of 10, 23 out of 30. Keeping the necklace would have guaranteed Brandon a place in the final 4. Instead, he surrendered his safety because he trusted Albert, and that trust ended his game immediately. Brandon's chances of actually winning the jury vote are debatable, but we'll never know, because he literally gave away his protection. At number 9 is J.T. Thomas, who handed an immunity idol to someone on the opposing tribe. During Survivor Heroes versus Villains, the heroes watched the villains eliminate one man after another. With only Russell Hantz remaining, JT became convinced that the women had formed an alliance and Russell was next. There was just one problem. JT had it completely backwards. Russell was working with the women, but JT didn't know that. So, before the merge, JT came up with an extraordinary plan. He gave Russell the hero's hidden immunity idol, along with a handwritten letter explaining exactly how to use it. Russell accepted the gift and then showed the letter to Parvati. The heroes had just handed an idol and valuable information directly to the opposing alliance. At the merge, JT discovered how wrong his red had been, and he was voted out at the very next tribal council. Survivor Geek's mistake score: decision 9 out of 10, impact 10 out of 10, win proximity 6 out of 10, 25 out of 30. JT's plan was bold. If his read had been correct, it could have completely changed the game, but it wasn't. Instead, JT gave the villains an idol, exposed the hero's strategy, and helped strengthen the alliance that sent him home, all wrapped up with a handwritten letter. At number 8 is Tyson Apostol, who changed one vote and accidentally voted himself out of the game. Early in Survivor, Heroes versus Villains, the villains were divided. Rob's alliance planned to split 6 votes evenly between Russell and Parvati. If Russell played his idol, Parvati would go home. If he didn't, Russell would go home. It was a plan designed to protect against the idol, and it should have worked. But Tyson became convinced that Russell and Parvati were voting against each other. So instead of sticking with the plan, Tyson changed his vote from Russell to Parvati.
Parvati?
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Thank I'm playing it.
That single vote changed everything. Russell played his idol for Parvati. The votes against her disappeared. And with the split vote ruined, Tyson suddenly had the most votes remaining. Tyson was voted out. Survivor Geek's mistake score, decision, 10 out of 10. Impact, 10 out of 10. Win proximity, 6 out of 10. 26 out of 30. Tyson didn't need an immunity win or a hidden idol to survive that night. He only needed to follow the plan. Instead, one unnecessary vote change turned a safe tribal council into his own elimination and helped give Russell and Parvati control of the villain's tribe. At number 7 is James Clement, who left Survivor with not one but 2 hidden immunity idols. At the final 7 of Survivor China, James seemed to be in an incredibly powerful position. He had 2 idols, a strong alliance, and only a few more chances to use them. But there was a problem. Those 2 idols were exactly what made James so dangerous. Amanda and the others realized that if they waited much longer, they might never get another chance to take him out. James, meanwhile, believed his alliance was still with him. At Tribal Council, he had 2 chances to protect himself.
If anyone has a hidden immunity idol, now would be the time to play it.
He played neither one. James was blindsided, and both idols left the game with him. Survivor Geek's mistake score, decision, 9 out of 10. Impact, 10 out of 10. Win proximity, 7 out of 10. 26 out of 30. With 2 idols at the final 7, James had an extraordinary amount of protection. But in Survivor, an idol only works if you're willing to play it. And somehow, 6 mistakes on our list were even bigger. At number 6 is Dominic Abbat, who came 1 vote away from winning Survivor Ghost Island. At the final 4, Dominic won the final immunity challenge, guaranteeing himself a spot at final tribal council. But he knew exactly who his biggest threat was, Wendell Holland. There was even a moment when Dominic considered giving up immunity and facing Wendell himself in the fire-making challenge. Instead, he kept immunity. He took Laurel to the final 3 and sent Angela against Wendell.
And there it is. Wendell makes fire. Wendell will join Laurel and Dominic in the final 3 tomorrow night.
Wendell won, and that decision came back to haunt Dominic. At final tribal council, Dominic and Wendell split the jury vote, 5-5. With Laurel receiving 0 votes, she became the tie-breaking juror. She voted for Wendell. Survivor Geek's mistake score, decision, 7 out of 10. Impact, 10 out of 10. Win proximity, 10 out of 10, for a total score of 27 out of 30. Dominic was one fire-making challenge away from potentially removing the man who ultimately beat him. Instead, he gave someone else the chance to do it, and it cost him the $1 million prize by 1 vote. Rafe Judkins played one of the strongest games in Survivor Guatemala. He controlled much of the post-merge game with Stephanie, won 4 individual immunity challenges, and made it all the way to the final 3. But he also had one more layer of protection, a final 2 deal with Danny Boatwright. Then, Danny won the final immunity challenge, and instead of holding her to their deal, Rafe told her she was released from her promise.
Danny, I wanna release you from any promise you made to me about who you take to the final 2, and take whoever you want tonight. I'm really serious about that, and I really mean it. Okay?
That gave Danny complete freedom to make the obvious strategic choice. At Tribal Council, she voted Rafe out and took Stephanie to the final 2 instead. Danny went on to win the game 6 votes to 1. Would she have honored the deal if Rafe hadn't released her? We could never know for certain. But Rafe voluntarily removed one of the only reasons she had to take him. Survivor Geek's mistake score: decision 8 out of 10, impact 10 out of 10, win proximity 10 out of 10, for a total score of 28 out of 30. Rafe made it 38 days. One promise might have been the difference between third place and a shot at the million. At number 4 is Ian Rosenberger, who voluntarily gave up his chance at $1 million. At the final 3 of Survivor Poo Lao, Ian faced Tom Westman in one of the most grueling immunity challenges in Survivor history. For nearly 12 hours, they stood on tiny buoys, fighting for the right to choose who would go to the final 2. Ian desperately needed that immunity, but after days of tension with Tom and Katie, the game had become personal. Ian wanted to prove that their friendship meant more to him than winning, so he made Tom an incredible offer. He would step down from the challenge if Tom promised to take Katie to the final 2.
Ian steps down. Tom wins final immunity.
Ian stepped down, and just like that, his game was over. He finished 3rd without ever facing the jury. Survivor Geek's mistake score: decision 9 out of 10, impact 10 out of 10, win proximity 9 out of 10, 28 out of 30. Ian's decision may have repaired the friendships that mattered to him, but with only one challenge standing between him and the final 2, he voluntarily gave up his chance to win Survivor. And somehow, 3 mistakes on our list were even bigger. At number 3 is Eric Reichenbach, with one of the most infamous mistakes in Survivor history. At the final 5 of Survivor Micronesia, Eric was the last man standing against the Black Widow Brigade, and he had immunity. As long as that necklace stayed around his neck, Eric was guaranteed another day in the game. But Siri, Parvati, Amanda, and Natalie convinced him that his only chance to repair the damage he'd done was to give up immunity. The plan sounded impossible, and somehow it worked.
I want to give individual immunity to Natalie.
Eric handed the immunity necklace to Natalie. For the first time that night, he was vulnerable, and the women immediately voted him out. Survivor Geek's mistake score: decision 10 out of 10, impact 10 out of 10, win proximity 8 out of 10, 28 out of 30. Eric had survived to the final 5, won immunity when he needed it most, and guaranteed his own safety. Then he handed that safety away. It remains one of the most unforgettable mistakes Survivor has ever seen. But 2 decisions on our list came even closer to directly costing someone $1 million. At number 2 is Colby Donaldson, whose $1 million mistake came down to one decision. At the final 3 of Survivor the Australian Outback, Colby won the final immunity challenge. That meant the choice was his. Tina Wesson, his closest ally, and the person he believed deserved to be there. Or Keith Farmy, the player Colby had a much better chance of beating. Colby chose Tina. He knew she was the bigger threat, but after everything they had been through together, he wanted to face her at the end, and that decision cost him.
The 14th person voted out of the tribe is Keith.
It's been an honor, guys.
I love you. Oh, you just
At Final Tribal Council, the vote was incredibly close. Tina won, 4 votes to 3. Survivor Geek's mistake score: decision 10 out of 10, impact 10 out of 10, win proximity 10 out of 10, 30 out of 30. Colby had won the final immunity challenge. He controlled exactly who would sit beside him at the end, and he chose the person who beat him. By 1 vote, only 1 mistake on our list ranks higher. And Kun number 1 is Wu Huang, with one of the clearest million-dollar mistakes in Survivor history. At the final 3 of Survivor Cagayan, Wu won the final immunity challenge. That meant one thing. He got to choose who would sit beside him at the final tribal council. His options were Cass McQuillan, who had burned bridges with much of the jury, or Tony Vlachos, the dominant strategist, who had controlled most of the game. Wu chose Tony. He believed taking the stronger player was the honorable move. But Survivor is not a game about giving your biggest threat a seat next to you at the end.
15th person voted out, and the 9th and final member of our jury. Cass, need to bring me your torch?
At Final Tribal Council, the jury made the consequence clear. Tony won. 8 votes to 1. Survivor Geek's mistake score. Decision, 10 out of 10. Impact, 10 out of 10. Win proximity, 10 out of 10. 30 out of 30. Wu had won the final immunity challenge. He controlled exactly who would sit beside him for the $1 million, and he chose Tony. That decision gave the game to the player he could have eliminated, and that is why Wu Huang takes the number 1 spot on our list. 13 players, 13 decisions that changed everything. But now it's your turn. Which of these was the biggest $1 million mistake in Survivor history? And what mistake should have made the list? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the countdown, subscribe to Survivor Geek for more Survivor rankings, polls, and history. Thanks for watching.